All right, so welcome to another Champions Journey episode, where today we are going to focus on the path of trading and using trading as a means to replacing your income so that you're free to choose what you want to do with your life and your time and not have to be at the beck and call of a boss or a job or doing something that you don't want to be doing. And so today, I'm joined by a bit of a legend in our community, in the world of trading, Mr. Luke Lawson. So Luke, thank you for joining us today, mate. How are you doing?
Very good, thanks, mate. How you doing? Legend himself, you say? I don't know. It's they call him the notorious Dan Holloway for a reason, not the notorious.
Do they? It's news to me, but I'll take it. I'll take notorious Dan Holloway. Thank you. But yeah, so mate, I want to give a quick bit of context before we dive into your story about the results that you've achieved in the world of trading and what that's enabled you to actually do in your life. So please correct me if any of the following is wrong, but I believe you've been involved in some way in the world of trading for a good few years, maybe six, 7 years. But throughout the first 2 years, the challenge was always connecting, having the money and having the time to dedicate and learn the skill, or really focusing and being disciplined enough to bring those two together. So I'm quite keen to hear your story in a second of how you managed to connect the two. But then more recently, I understand that you have brought those two together. You've got the discipline, you had a little bit of money to actually invest and then to grow through the power of compounding. And that's then enabled you to do awesome things like you're living in Bali at the moment. And obviously I know what you spend most of your days doing because I follow your Instagram. So going on like adventures with your girlfriend, with your brother. Some of them look phenomenal, by the way. And so I'm just really keen to get a bit of a sense from you, mate, of how you went through that journey, how you connected those dots, and really how low barrier to entry it was once you put the focus in to start creating those kind of results. Because I think for anyone watching this, that's kind of why we're watching. We want to get a sense of, how do we start this journey and get to where we want to get to in the shortest and most efficient possible time. So Luke, thank you, buddy, for joining me today. Can you please give us a little bit of context of where you started out? What was life for Luke Lawson before you discovered trading?
Great question. Bit lost, bit aimless in the world. Didn't know what was going on. I was a bit shy, a bit awkward, and I tried to overcome that social, I guess, let's say, anxiety, not like social anxiety that, I know some people suffer from, but this is where I got into the world of sales, and I just wanted to learn how to sell and get better. And, I was okay at it. I got pretty good. As you can tell, I can now string a sentence together, which I couldn't do when I was 16. But I realized that, selling stuff to people that oftentimes they don't want. And, I had a sales and marketing company. I even moved into stockbroking at one stage. But I just realized it really wasn't for me. And I mean, you hear that a lot about sales, but I was good at it, but it's just something I wasn't that interested in. I didn't want to really do. So it was where I really found that trading, which I was introduced by a friend of mine. That was really where I was like, wait, this is something I don't need to talk to people. Now, I had a few criteria. I was like, if you don't know what you do want, figure out what it is that you don't want. I was like, I don't want a boss. I didn't want to have customers. Now, that was a tricky one, right? I didn't want to have, ideally not have customers. I think that might've been 3 or 4. It was a bit more of a later criteria.
So it's like you didn't want to be sort of accountable to having to show up and like be there and, provide clients with a service, for example.
Exactly. I think that was like number 4. That was like, further down the line because, I didn't want to have stock. So I wanted something that's location independent. That was that. I think that was number 2. Didn't want a boss, wanted to be location independent. Third criteria, I think, was I didn't want to have stock. So that was one of the things that I didn't really figure out. I didn't know really what drop shipping was at the time, but I thought I needed to have, if I start an e-com, I need to have like a big room, a storage warehouse that I'll be like bound to have to go back to, which really isn't location independent. And it had to be something that's scalable, something that you can build and grow over time. Trading is the only thing I can think of that matches all of those criteria. No customers, no boss, location independent, scalable, no stock, which is location independent. There might have been another one in there somewhere, but that is wild to me. And that was when I went all in, but still I really got the discipline. I was focusing on the trading, and, I think I managed to pull together about $1,000. And when I didn't have much money, the issues that I came across is, when you've only got $1,000 and that's almost every penny to your name, all of a sudden you get a speeding fine, right? The world challenges you, and it was that, or it was something else. And then I'd find myself having to withdraw from my account. And, I might be up, 5%, making a 5% return, month on month, which, by the way, is insane if you don't withdraw the money. But when you don't have much, and it's like, well, either I default or I pull from this account because my income wasn't that high, then you have to pull from the account, right? So I found kept going into the cycle of right. It was the two things that, with two biggest excuses that we tell ourselves why we can't do something, right? It's the biggest ones is don't have enough money, or don't have the financial means to, or don't have enough time. Now I flip-flopped between these two for years. Now I kept trading in the background, and I liked it, and I sincerely, genuinely enjoy going into the charts, and even just playing it almost like a game, or even trading a demo account. A lot of the time I would run out of money, and I'll just have like a demo paper trading account. So you don't make any money, you don't lose any money, but you can still track your results and your returns.
Yeah.
And I'd keep doing that. So my abilities really improved over time, but then I'd get into, either financial strife and withdraw from my account, or else I got into solar sales, right? I kind of started this, I helped a friend start a sales and marketing company selling solar. And that went well for about 9 months. And that was good. Made over 6 figures in those 9 months. And that was really cool. And then the company ended up going belly up, but he didn't pay me out like my last $8,000, which I was kind of relying on. And first time making any kind of reasonable money.
So basically you had your skill that you were developing, but your challenge was always the consistency of either leaving your capital in your trading account to keep growing it, or having the discipline to save and invest the income that you were earning from the other stuff you're doing, like your solar sales job, to actually, really grow this into something substantial. What was the moment, mate, that changed? Like, when did you suddenly find that, the financial discipline clicked into place, and what did that then do to your trading results?
So I always went through the cycle of not enough money, but all the time, or not all the time in the world, but, working a regular job, and then having, reasonable amount of capital, but just no time to trade. Now I would still have it the first way around, because you can improve your abilities, right? And then once you've got the ability, you can make the money. But a lot of that time was kind of flip-flopping back and forth between there.
Yeah.
But really it was within the last, I moved to Bali in 2020. Last year at the it was in January, I think it was mid-January 2020. I came over here, and this is when I was like, okay, burn the bridges. I'm going to make this work. And at the time I was selling solar over the phone. We just managed to go remotely. So it was all just pre-COVID, and it worked out perfectly because we'd already set up to go remote. A few months later, COVID hits in, and then we're on solar. Now, again, this was a new venture, apart from the other one that went belly up. So training the sales teams straight away had a reasonable amount. I mean, there was a bit of startup cost coming over here because I was helping, fund the company in a lot of ways. So again, that the capital diminishes, and then we've got this company to build, and we're kind of training these guys. But then really I came back to myself, and it might have been just being in Bali, and kind of, it's a great place here. They call it the island of gods, right? Where you really drill deep and you're like, what is it? How do I want to actually be spending my time on this earth, right? And maybe I was a slow learner, right? I'm 27 now. So there's about a 7-year journey of this trading, of flip-flopping back and forth, have the money, but no time, have the time, but no money, until I really got here. And it was, and for the last kind of, since then, since the start of January, this is when I was really pretty much full-time trading, and solar became the back burner. I had the financial means to be able to start pulling some reasonable results out of the market. And then it was when, Valerie, he introduced me to these other EA trading systems, kind of this bot trading, it can be beneficial in certain ways. It's kind of moderate risk, moderate reward. It's quite cool, but to have a basis of, actual technical knowledge of knowing actually how to trade, that's really, you can enhance your results. And Dan, as you know, today has been a little bit of a celebration. So what are we in? 14 months, 15 months later, like I'm now full trading is my sole primary number one income now. So I'm earning in more than enough from trading to be able to live off. Now I try to keep my expenses nice and low because of course we know about this, the power of compound interest and scalability. But to be honest, man, probably full time, going remote, not having to work in office and choosing my hours, that's such a massive thing because you need to also have a routine. You need to be showing up consistently when it comes to the markets. You can't, it doesn't really, I mean, there are times that are better to show up than other times, but to just not be able to just to show up one day and not the other day because you got called into the office or you're working late or you're working early, like it makes it challenging. And you know, you got to be quite a disciplined person to be able to do that. So really, when I got to virtually choose my own hours and running the sales team on the side, that was when I was just like, okay, we can finally do what it is that we want to do, right? And so I guess pretty much to summarize, all the way up until that point, I was doing everything that I had to do to live a life that I actually enjoyed, right? And first thing was like just regular lifestyle, like knocking on doors and selling over the phone. Like it's a tough gig, man. And then when I really came to Bali, and I was like, oh, this is cool. I've been working on this thing. And the Bali thing was a goal for probably 3 years prior to that. Or I think maybe even 4 years. And I was like always planning each year. I was like, okay, this is the year. It never happened. Well, until 4 years later. And then it happened to be the year. And then it's like, life's all about creating better problems, right? When my problem was I didn't like where I was living, I was stuck in a physical location. I was doing everything that I could, fastest way to solve that problem. Now that problem is solved. That was when I was like, okay, now what do I actually want to do for a living? Before I didn't really care. I'll do whatever I need to do to get that result, which was location independence. But now I've got that. What do I actually want to do with my time? And that was really where trading took the forefront, took the stage, and I've been doing that ever since. So
so I want to kind of summarize some of the points that you said, going back to.
Please do. I know I waffle on, so summarize away, mate.
All good. So you started with talking about you had 5 things that you wanted. So you didn't want a boss, you didn't want stock, you didn't want customers, clients, you wanted the location independence and freedom to travel, and you didn't want whatever the 5th thing was that I can't remember what was. Scalability. That was it. So scalability. And so all of these things in mind. Trading ticked a lot of those boxes, but the challenge throughout the years was always balancing the financial discipline with actually putting the consistent time into trading. It was like either you had the time but you didn't have the money, or you had the money but you weren't putting the time in, and so because of that you never really got much traction. But then from the moment where the two clicked, which was kind of when you moved to Bali in 2020, that was when you started putting both time and money into the equation, and then your results started to snowball and skyrocket to the point where I believe even today, and correct me if the figures are wrong here, but I believe you closed just this morning a manual trade for like $3,500 Aussie dollars profit just on this morning. Was that right?
Yeah, I think it was $3,580. So just shy of $3,600, which I don't know what's that in pounds. I should know this as a forex trader. It's about 2,000.
Yeah, about 2,000 and maybe a smidge. Yeah. So phenomenal. And this is like exactly the kind of, and I want to tie this down for someone watching to give a picture of how do you go from not having the skill or just finding out about trading to doing things like closing a single trade in a day with, by the way, a risk management strategy that is extremely low risk, because I know you, on every trade you take, you only risk 1% of your capital at any one time, which of course risk management is extremely important. So if somebody is watching this and they're thinking of getting into trading, what advice would you give to them to really take that journey in the shortest possible time, to go from just starting out, not knowing anything about trading, to then, being able to make trades successfully and then achieve the kind of results that you've been achieving throughout 2020 and 2021?
Good one, mate. That was a perfect layup right there.
Just tee it up and you just knock it down. Yeah.
There we go. All right. So so in recent months, what I've been working on, because we've been part of a community and I've seen a lot of people coming in, same questions, same issues, same difficulties as what I had. And probably in the last 3 to 5 years, there's been so much more of this I guess, let's say like fluffy trading education. I don't know if it's through COVID. That's, well, I mean, even pre-COVID about, earn money online. And there's so many different things and options out there. And you've got, to be fair, a lot of the stuff that I've seen, it's like, there are charlatans out there that are saying, do this, press this button 4 times a day and you'll make a mil, right? Like, come on, guys, let's be realistic. Really, to Pro Trader is something that I created a few months ago. This is a full, from start to finish, beginner who's never even looked at a chart before. It's got no idea what a pip is, all the way through to be able to confidently and competently swing trade. And my goal for every Pro Trader subscriber who comes in, who knuckles down and really goes through all the modules, everything's video training content, so it's nice, super easy to and digestible. I go through positions, like setups that I've taken and why I've taken it, the 6 core principles to understanding markets. Basically, it's pretty much just a checklist. Understand these six things, and you'll already be in the top 5% of traders in the world.
Yeah.
Most of them, don't even know that kind of stuff. And the goal is to get you to a 5%, to the first milestone, 5% return within your first 6 months. That's what I attempt to do. Of course, that's what some people are going to make it, some people are not, but that's kind of just to give you an idea. It's not something that you're going to pick up on day one and be like, oh, great, I made 10% return this week. It's something that is a longer term. And as my whole journey, 7 years, and 5 years of that, I had, like, by the second and third year, I was having good results, but there's more facets to trading than just the result. There's the mindset stuff, the priorities, where you're going to prioritize it. So all of that is covered in the Pro Trader curriculum. We've got a public Slack channel where people jump in, ask any questions, post daily trade setups. Have a look at that, and I do my own personal analysis on it and think if it's a good trade, if it's a bad trade, and we all just share. It's a really, really cool, great community. So I'm loving that. But as what Dan said there, the biggest thing, and the stuff that you don't see so much, it's because marketed online, just simply because it's not sexy. It's the risk management side of it, right? It's the never risking more than 1% of your account, of your capital, on any one trade. So that means things like, market movements. And we saw, I don't know how many people, lives were ruined through COVID and through, these, poor investments. And if you've ever seen something online or heard, and I know, I've spoken to folks that have tried Forex and I'm never touching that again. I blew up my account in a week. I've lost $10,000 in a week. It's like, well, you didn't apply proper risk management strategies because, there is no certainties. That's one thing. And, Forex, there is absolutely, and just, well, really as a whole, nothing in life. There's no certainties, even less so in trading and in Forex, stocks, crypto, all of it, right? There's no certainties. So really what trading is compared to gambling, because gambling is one thing. I've also heard that one, right? Gambling, you don't know the outcome. You don't need to know the outcome to get a positive result. It's called trading an edge. So it means that, for example, let's just say that you're a 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio. All you need to do is win 60% of those over time, and you're going to make more money than you lose. If you win 60%, lose 40%, you're going to make money. That's not the only way. You can have a high risk-reward, so that's a high strike rate. You're going to make lots of small trades. You can do a high risk-reward, meaning that you can bank 2% or 2-to-1 or 3-to-1. 5-to-1 in some instances if the setup provides it. You can still lose more trades than you win. Say even on a 2-to-1, if you're losing 60% and you're winning 40%, you're still making double on the winning trades than what you are on the losing trades. You don't know what's going to happen. Right? It might go up, it might go down. And one of the most difficult things with trading is to know it doesn't matter if it goes up or down, because over applying the law of large numbers, if you are trading an edge, following a strict set of criteria of rules that you have put in place, or you can follow my rules, which I've had people come through and apply my rules and get the similar results. Not exactly the same because some of it's discretionary, but just by applying these rules, applying a strategy, there's a few, again, these 6 core principles. You chunk those 6 things together. Each one of those may increase your strike rate by 2%. Now, chunk 10, 6 of them together or 10 of them together, there is more of them. You could increase your strike rate by 10 or 20%, and and then just do that 100 times over. Now, risk management, because nothing's certain, even if you've got a 90% strike rate, if you bet the farm, you bet everything that you've got on this one position, right? And you see this happen when people are like, wow, if it comes up, 90% chance it's going to be successful. Yeah, do that trade 10 times. Do that trade 20 times. I
Mm.
guarantee 1 in 20 of those. Well, I mean, again, I can't guarantee. Again, I'm a trader here. There is no guarantees. But I'm pretty confident that if you did that 90% chance that it's going to win, 10% chance that it's going to lose, if you did that 100 times,
You're probably going to lose at some point.
one of the times it's gonna land in the 10%. And if you're better, you might have doubled, tripled, 10x your account over that time. But the one time that it doesn't work, you're back to zero. And then that's when people walk away with burnt fingers and they're like, oh, that trading thing, no, it's not for me.
Yeah.
So that's why applying a rigid, trade management protocol, really, COVID could happen, another GFC could happen, right? Twin Towers, disaster could set in. And you could even just human error. You could come in as a complete novice and press buy instead of sell, or sell instead of buy, right? And do something that's absolutely horrific, or 10x the amount that you've put on the trade, but really you've only lost that 1%.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a great, and that's the essence of swing trading.
Got it. And if anyone's watching and they want to learn from Luke, I'll put a button just below this video where you can click it and you can find out what Pro Trader is and how it could help you with trading. Now, what about
just one note? So Pro Trader all encapsulates everything from start to finish, everything you need to know. Jump in recently, depending on when this is filmed. We've been pushing out new modules every single week, so we've got a really cool community of most people are in their beginning stages. We've got some people that have been putting some profitable, some healthy trades through, but like a lot of it in its relative infancy. It's just the essence of everything that I've learned over the past 7 years, packaged up into these really nice digestible video training content. But where we're at right now is that it's an exciting time because it's growing and because there's more people coming in, and the questions that people are asking today, probably going to be relevant to you if you're a beginner as well. I mean, still in 12 months and 2 years, we're going to have relevant content, but it's fun to do it as a big group, so sooner rather than later if you can, but if it's something that does spark your interest.
Cool. And also, I wanted to talk about your view on combining trading, like manual trading, swing trading, with expert advisors, so EAs. That's the AI trading software that you mentioned earlier. What are your thoughts, Luke, on combining the two? Or for someone starting out, like what place does AI trading software have as part of this bigger picture of trading?
Good question. AI trading, let's say, has a glass ceiling. Now, it's incredibly, incredibly powerful. And I was not super familiar with, of course I knew about it. I'd never traded EAs or this kind of algorithmic trading software until mid last year. Or maybe started last year, and that was when I jumped onto it simply because I had friends and I'd known people. There was no way I was going to go buy some bot offline, or online, online, buy it online. Yeah,
We know what you mean.
Yeah, but it was when I had friends introduced me to it and said, "Hey, check it out," and I jumped in, and they're super powerful. I think that if you're starting out, a nice conservative EA with some conservative settings, it's a great stepping stone into actual manual trading, right?
Yeah.
Now, why that is let's say the settings that you apply, it's either low risk, low reward, right? Which is still exciting. Moderate risk, moderate reward, or high risk, high reward, right? It's quite fixed. It doesn't adapt and evolve as with the markets the same way that a human mind does, right? Or with experience, an experienced trader can see, I can see what's about to happen. I'm not going to let that happen. And then you can apply a little bit more discretion. Now, with Variable, which is one of the EAs that I signed up with, just applying and I got dubbed, as Holloway knows, in our community, I got dubbed as the Variable King because in about 3.5 months, or was it 4 months, I made a 270% return, and that's verifiable on my FX book as well. In that time, and nobody had seen really results like that in our community, and that was simply because I was applying my manual trading experience, and I could I could see how the EA worked, probably more clearly than most, and not just the theory behind it. Anybody can read the spec sheet and kind of know how it works, but what does that mean, and how does it apply to different market conditions? So you can, I was on moderate risk, high reward, or moderate to high risk to the high reward, and I was doing very well there. But the difference between that and manual trading and applying total discretion is, and that 1% risk, it's always low risk. You're always applying that 1% per trade, so no one trade is going to tip you over the edge. Now, the part that's variable is the reward. When you start out, yeah, you're probably going to be low risk, low reward, right? You're probably not going to pull a heck of a lot out of the market because, unless you, of course, you go through the pro trader curriculum and then you'll be a master. Disclaimer here, you may not be a master, what makes EA super exciting as a brand new trader who may not have a lot of capital, who's thinking, maybe I want to move out of my job. I want to do this trading thing full time. It's a great place because you don't need to to go through the curriculum. It might take you a couple of weeks, might take you a couple of months. You might not even place your first trade for 2 months in. If you want to start making some speedy, snappy cash, like these EAs are good because most of the work's being done for you. Now, like anything, it does have that drawback and the chance that you might get into some more drawdown, or it is a little bit, you just got to be more comfortable with the account fluctuations. And I wouldn't suggest going and, again, betting the farm on an EA or on anything really. But it's a great place to start pretty much instantly. If you set one up tonight, next week you could have pulled out a couple of % return. But eventually, and what I want to see with my pro trader guys is that you outgrow these EAs, because when you have half of your capital in an EA, and if you're trading it confidently like I was, getting, it's moderate risk for a high return, and the other half of your capital you're getting a low risk, high return, you're just going to be like, well, and again, it'll take time to get there because you're still beginning and you're in your early stages. But when you become a master trader in low risk, high return, look, why am I risking for my other half of my capital? Why does it have that risk element to it? Now, risk doesn't mean it's gonna blow your account up or you're gonna get robbed or anything like that. That's just the terminology that we use in talking about investments, right? Every thing has got its higher, it's how you want to scale it. The lowest risk thing is a term deposit, but you're going to get a very abysmal reward from it.
Cool. So I suppose what you're saying is that EAs definitely have a place, and they definitely, for someone who's starting out for the first time and they want to get involved in trading, it's a brilliant way to get your feet wet and start understanding how things work, stop making a bit of money. Obviously no results are guaranteed, disclaimer. But then from that point, you can also start to learn, well, how do you trade the Forex markets? And how do you do it in a way where you don't have to sit and look at charts all day, which is, by the way, one of the things that I really liked about your swing trading strategies. It's just 20 minutes a day. You set your trades for the day and then you go off and, motorcycle around Bali with your girlfriend, for example. I know that's something that you might do from time to time, but it's like EAs have a space and they're brilliant for starting out. But ultimately, if you want to really master this art of trading, then learning to trade manually is gonna serve you as well. So let's say somebody's watching this and they're thinking of getting involved in or getting started in trading. Maybe they've even gone through some initial education for like starting to learn to trade. What would you say would be the next step? I'm sure you'd say pro trader, but like what should somebody focus their efforts into if they're serious about learning how to trade?
Well, okay, so there's probably two different groups of people that are watching this, or that are getting interested in trading, or may already have had some, as you said, trading education. So it depends on your current situation. Have you got the means of capital to be able to go 6 months without potentially making a penny, and just go all in, focus on your education and go from there? Or are you somebody who is time poor and might take you some months, you can only allocate half an hour a day to education? Those are two different types of people. Or you might only have $1,000 in your account, and let's be honest, you're never going to be able to retire on $1,000 on your account. Like, you'd be needing to make a 200% return a week or a month, or however much your expenses are. So I think overall, as a summary, if you're somebody who's middle of the road, got a bit of time, got a bit of money, just interested to see what to do, two things: sign up to an EA, get on board with Evoria Prime, and get your Pro Trader membership. Now, even if it takes you 3 months, 6 months, or however long to get through Pro Trader and learn how to trade, personally, and I've had a few conversations with people in the community about this, that just what you learn in Pro Trader, like I personally think that EAs you should require. If the world was a perfectly regulated place, I think you shouldn't be allowed to trade with an EA until you're licensed and actually understand how the thing works and what kind of risk management you can apply. Now you get all of that training in Pro Trader, which is why I think that you could jump on and just learn everything that you need to know with Pro Trader and learn how to manually trade and do very, very well. And in 2 years, 3 years, from now, never have to work another day in your life. And if you scale and you do well, never have your next generation may never have to work another day in their life, or the generation after that. And we've got a whole section in there about generational wealth and how to put things in place. Anyway, I digress. So, you could do that, but, and that's okay as a standalone, but my personal opinion, the whole reason why, and I can go into detail why Pro Trader started, is we saw people jumping into just EAs with zero interest in learning anything about trading, but wanting to retire off an EA and call themselves a professional trader. That's some crazy stuff, right? You're not a professional trader if you've never placed a trade, or you don't know how the trades are working. And unfortunately, we have seen people that have burnt their fingers and traded irresponsibility and changed the settings in these EAs just simply because they don't really know what they mean, or they don't know the impacts that it's going to have on the markets. So that's why to go through, even if you went through Pro Trader, didn't place a single trade, understood everything about the markets, and then thought I'm just gonna trade these EAs, and then signed up to an EA, well, that's fine, that's cool as well. Like you'll probably do very well, or you'll do better than most who don't have the education. But like anything, if somebody told you a year ago or 5 years ago, said, hey, if you sit here and you just push a button every day, just push this button with no education, that's the very key variable here, every day, and you'll never have to work another day in your life, you'll be pulling 50% a year, 100% a year, like I would be suspicious. Now that's just me. But education is power, knowledge is power, as they say, and then executing and acting on that knowledge is really where the power is. So I'd say both EAs, they work hand in hand. If in a perfect world, go for both. If you've got 6 figures in your account and you want something that is low risk, you're really not like reward, you're okay. You can cover your expenses and you're good for 6 months or a year, or you're just doing this because you don't want money sitting in a term deposit in a bank account, losing value. Then Pro Trader, and that is a great standalone because it's guaranteed, it's low risk. Right?
How much would you say someone needs if they want to start trading?
EAs or Pro Trader, manual trading?
Either or. Like, how much money would you say someone really needs to have if they want to get good traction with trading?
Yeah. So look, if you got 1,000 units, whatever, dollars, pounds, Aussie, that's a good starting point. That's exactly where I started. You're not going to be able to retire on that, right? And you'd have to run too aggressive, high risk settings on an EA for it to squeeze that amount of profit for you to, retire on. So we've got to be realistic here. But the power of compounding is so powerful, and especially as your ability grows, your account grows, and you're great from there. Now there are other options available, and this is what EAs don't provide. Is if you are a trader, if you can get to that 5% per month, as I've mentioned, that's the goal that's the first milestone as a Pro Trader customer, or then you'll have outside capital access to you. Now there are these prop firms, which I'll be sharing in the Pro Trader curriculum, that you can have access to, but they have much more stringent criteria, and a lot of this criteria they put in places so they don't really want EAs trading for them. I mean, if they wanted an EA trading for them, they would just get the EA themselves and trade it for themselves. They wouldn't have traders who are paying however much a month for an EA, and then giving them a chunk of their profit, the 30% of the profit. Now, so that's why they've kind of designed it in a way that it squeezes out the people that trade EA. They really much prefer manual traders, people who are thinking on their own 2 feet, who have their own strategies, their own bits and pieces. So if capital is an issue for you, and you need to, or you want to be retired in the year or the 2 years, but you don't have a heck of a lot in the bank balance, then absolutely learn to manual trade. And if you can make 5% a month every month for a year, capital is no problem. Whether it's private equity or these FTMO or Audacity, but unfortunately, then we've got people who are trying to cut corners and going in with these EAs and trying, and of course they work so well, and there's a certain month that it might, you might check the boxes, but that's why they've got over long periods of time, like FTMO. I know they've got a 3-month kind of process that you need to prove a certain results and not get into a certain amount of drawdown. And usually it's the risk management strategies that even on a low risk, you're never going to hit their profit targets. And if it's a moderate risk, you might hit the profit target, but you're going to miss the drawdown limit, and they're going to cut you out. So low capital pro trader, medium capital pro trader, and maybe an EA. High capital, and you don't want to be risking, then also pro trader. So pro trader is all three. If you're kind of middle of the road, then go to EA, get an EA, and jump in. And again, I trade. And full disclaimer, like I have 2 EAs that I run, and there's another one that's coming out soon, which is super exciting and interesting. But I keep that as, again, low to moderate, simply because I don't have the million in the bank. But if I did, I'd put a sliver, if that, into
So what you're basically saying is, if somebody's got a couple of grand or a few grand to start out, you can start out with that amount. You can learn the skills, and don't underestimate the power of compounding, because if you can compound, let's say, I'll flash up on the screen now, actually, if you compound at 10% a month, for example, even your example, let's go 5% a month. If you compound at 5% a month over 3 years, starting with a balance of 2,000, say USD, this is the result that you will get from compounding. So it's absolutely huge, as long as you're leaving your capital.
Can we do one more tweak to that?
Of course.
One more tweak to that, because this is super powerful as well, right? Now, we'll add on that sheet there, which you're probably looking at. All you need to, if you started seeing 5% return every month, of course, you're going to be pretty happy with that. You're going to, you're getting the results. You're going to end up skimming a little bit extra. You're probably not going to be, buying the Starbucks coffees every day. You'll be scaling down, getting, instant coffee. And if you were to just put an extra, let's say $100 a month as an extra input in there, deposit in there, and that amount also scaling. I don't know how good Dan's spreadsheets are here.
Let's see if the calculator can do this.
Quite complicated, but if you can figure it out, see that on the screen, the significant, massive difference that it makes. And I guarantee, if you're seeing results and you're getting a great investment, return on your investment, you're going to find a way. You're going to borrow money off your mom, and you're going to put that in there, and you're going to start seeing it grow as well. So that's $100. Now, should we take it a step further? If you could come up with an extra $100 a week, or let's say, what's that, 400, let's just round it. Let's say an extra $500 a month. If you can really cut back your expenses, go on the cheaper phone plan, maybe cancel your Netflix subscription, you put an extra $500 a month in there. Now, that might be a bit of a stretch for some people, but you put that in there, this is what you would have in 3 years at only a 5% return.
Yeah.
Which is some powerful stuff. And now 5% is only your first milestone. We won't, if Dan wants to show the 10% return a month, but that's some...
I'll flash the ultimate 10% return a month, putting 500 a month of your monthly income from your job into your trading account as well. This is what it looks like. So you can see that if you can learn a skill and trade an edge and achieve consistent results over time, the power that it has to literally transform your life is absolutely huge. And obviously this is what you cover in the Pro Trader curriculum. So Luke, I just want to say thank you, mate, for sharing your journey to get to here, and obviously be able to give back and teach people all the skills that you've learnt in trading, so that they too can create the kind of results that you have, whether it is, living in Bali now and spending all day doing fun adventures and stuff like that, and then just doing your 20 minutes of trading every morning when you wake up, or whether it's being there with their family, spending time with your family, if that's what you want to do, or maybe retiring early, or buying your dream house, or whatever that looks like for you. So just remember, do the exercise that Luke talked about, where you think, what is it if you don't know what you want from life, what are the things that you don't want? So for Luke, he didn't want a boss. He wanted the freedom to travel. He didn't want to have clients or customers that he was accountable to, didn't want to have products or stock that he needed to keep somewhere, and he wanted something that was scalable and could actually increase and grow. And if those are the boxes that you too want ticked, then this could be a very viable option and route for you to go down. Right, so if you did want to get started with Pro Trader, there's a button below this video to go ahead and get started. Otherwise, Luke, mate, thank you. Appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I know it's evening time where you are in the world at the moment. So, mate, we'll speak soon in another video, but thank you for joining us today.
Most welcome, mate. Thank you so much. And I hear that you might be coming to Bali in a few months. We'll do one of those motorbike trips or hike Mount Agung or go diving or snorkeling. That's the whole thing, guys. Trading, it is a lot of screen and chart time, but when you focus it on and you've got the capital and you've got the time freedom, which again, we didn't go too much into swing trading, 20 minutes a day rather than day trading. That's, sorry, mate. We'll wrap this up. But rather than looking at charts all day, every day, you're thinking of day trading, right? Where this is a different thing entirely. It's 20 minutes a day. You can work it around your job if you've still got one. But yeah, the whole idea is to be able to live life on your own terms. Now, I know that's kind of become a bit of a bumper sticker, right?
Yeah.
These days, but like the power that having the time and money, like really, we're not saving the manatees, right? Trading is just pushing numbers around on a screen. It's really and ask yourself that, what would you do? Did you have the money? Because as we know, money doesn't really itself as a tangible thing or intangible thing, it doesn't actually provide the happiness. It's about what do you actually do. And so like we didn't go, I could have sat here all day, all night with you guys telling you about how much cool stuff that I do. Go check out my Instagram or Facebook, because I won't do another shameless plug here, but the hiking, the snowboarding, we wanted to do a trip to Japan. Had COVID not come in, we'd be snowboarding, in the mountains of Japan right now. That is what is so cool about this, that you can't get from a regular job, or, if you're serving somebody, serving the customer, serving the boss, doing that rigmarole. So Dan, I hope to see you here in Bali in the coming months, mate. I've got a spare room here for you. So Legend. I won't even bill you. Oh,
you won't even, mate. That's very generous of you, Luke. Thank you. But no, I'd love that, buddy. Like coming to Bali, going on some adventures. It'd be really cool to catch up again. So yeah, we'll do that as soon as the world reopens. I'm there.
Very good.
Cool.
Thank you very much,
Bye,
mate.
Thank you very much. I'll speak to you soon.